Hello out there, awesome radio family. Yes, you see us again. You see us again.
Hey.
Merry Christmas. We're so excited. We want to thank you for joining us on 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU every Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Are you ready to learn, engage, and inspire? Welcome to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show. I'm your host for the next 50 minutes, Tonitia Langley, education enthusiast, thought leader, and founder, education consultant, and coach. I'm excited to partner with you and be dedicated to the heart of our community, which is education. I'm the host, but you and the community mean the most. I would love for you to share your suggestions of what you would love to get more information related to K-12 education. And if you're interested, because I'm getting some people to hit me up from time to time, it makes me excited. So you can also be joined to that club. So all you have to do is just email us at let's talk K12education at gmail.com. Okay. So again, I'm excited. You see the Christmas bling that we're both wearing? You see this? All right. It's December, and we are ringing in the holiday spirit, celebrating the most wonderful time of the year here at the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show. As a countdown to the K-12 winter break with a new year on the horizon, we're bringing you all the insights and resources needed to make this season uplifting for everyone in the education community. Partner with us as we explore how we can support and uplift our schools, families, communities, and spread joy, foster growth, and create warm, inclusive atmospheres for students and educators alike. Join us as we share tips, insights, and spread just a little holiday cheer to make this season bright and memorable for everyone in the world of K-12 education. During this month of December, leading up to our Christmas Eve show on the 24th, you can be a Let's Talk K-12 Education Awesome Radio Christmas Helper by calling in to the Let's Talk K-12 Education show for the various opportunities to receive free Christmas giveaways. You heard it, free Christmas giveaways. And the second lady to do this was none other than Dr. Turney, but we'll get more into that as we continue with our first segment of the show. So you say, well, these are some of the ways that you can be an awesome radio helper and receive Christmas giveaways. When prompted, call into the show at 252-756-3137 and give a Christmas shout out to a K-12 staff. It can be a principal, teacher, bus driver, cafeteria worker, secretary, and custodian. Because believe it or not, people think the teachers run the school. Dr. Turner, we know better, don't we?
Yes, yes.
Is that support, that classified supporting staff?
That's
They know
right.
everything, where we just know curriculum and
That's
know how to
right.
teach kids. And what you can do when you call in, just tell this special person you want to wish them a Merry Christmas because, and it can be because they make your day brighter. It can be because a day that your printer was messed up and you were stressing out, they came and helped you. Wish them a Merry Christmas on air. So here is our K-12 show 2024 Christmas anthem. For educators, K-12 stakeholders, and partners, may your Christmas be as bright as your students' future and your Christmas break be filled with lots of cheer, cozy moments, and plenty of hot cocoa. Don't worry about the calories, it's okay. For the K-12 families in our listening and viewing audience, may the spirit of Christmas fill your homes with love, peace, and joy. On last week's show, we explored innovation and stagnation of charter schools with none other than this beautiful guest that I have again as a repeat guest, with Dr. Crystalline Turney, with Christmas giveaways of her books. And we provided tons of information regarding that topic. If you would like a recap of those tools and resources, or for any previous Let's Talk K-12 education show, catch us on the replay and comment hashtag replay by heading on over to Facebook at Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Again, what am I getting ready to say? Look for the purple and green logo. If you prefer YouTube, that's okay too, because sometimes I like to stream that on my TV. Head on over to www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU, and you again are going to look for the purple and green logo. As a former educator and classroom teacher from a traditional public school setting and current education consultant and coach, my goal is to use this platform as an unbiased show to educate and provide information as it pertains to educating our future. That's the goal of the Let's Talk K-12 education show, to let others know that in the challenging educational landscape, there is a light that pierces the darkness, and there are educators working in the trenches, stakeholders, educational thought leaders, and consultants like me and Dr. Turney to close the gap of the school to prison pipeline with tenacity, grit, grind, and providing hope. So, going to open up the show today. Our topic today is going to be Christmas cheer to middle of the school year educator checkpoint. And there's some thought provokers. I know we got to wrap up our last show, Dr. Turner, but I want to get your insight on something. So, here's some thought provokers around what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
End of year assessments. How are you preparing students? And this is towards educators. Preparing students for upcoming assessments while balancing the festive atmosphere. Ugh. What tips do you have for helping students stay focused and perform their best, or around professional development? What professional development opportunities are available to educators during this time to help them recharge and improve their teaching practices? How can we support ongoing learning and growth for all educators? Dr. Turney, I know you got to wrap up innovation and stagnation, but I want you to wrap your head around this thought provoker and give the radio listening audience and viewers some insight around that, our new topic today that we're going to discuss.
Absolutely. So they don't call me the education problem solver for nothing. And so I get and hear problems similar to the one that you just shared, in the sense that it is the middle of the year, holiday season.
Yep.
We have testing going on.
Yep.
How do we as educators maintain this structure and environment? How do we support students who are dealing with all sorts of things during this holiday season, and making sure that they are doing their very best on the assessments? That's a challenging question, but I'm here to provide some solutions. And so the biggest thing that we see is that great support of this particular expectation around assessments is routines and structures, maintaining as many routines and structures as you can. And it really started a couple of months ago, right? We don't just get to December and say, there's a test coming up. We got MAP tested. We got STAR. We got state tested. We have to do this. We don't just wait until then, right? We establish these routines, expectations, and structures early on so that we know and we expect our students to have fun, right? We want you to work hard, but we also want you to play hard. So we put in those incentives and we set those expectations for students to give their very best efforts on these assessments, and just maintaining that structure and that support. When we think about professional development, we're looking at this from that instructional support lens. So what can the instructional leaders in the building help support individual teachers on? Because first of all, we got to make sure that our teachers and educators have a strong foundation and they're able to run this race, because it's a challenge for educators as well. And then how we support our students as well. Now, I'm going to get deep into that mid-year checkpoint a little while later, where we're talking to educators and school leaders, and we're just saying, how are you doing? How are we getting through this? What do we need to do to recharge? But for right now, we're going to stick with the subject of preparation for mid-year assessments and supporting our students. So content-wise, it is the thought that we have been building this content throughout. But it's okay to say we haven't reached that place and we need some review. So when you're putting in these review activities and strategies, make sure it is engaging and as fun as it can possibly be. Perhaps you can make it some type of holiday theme and make it into a game, or give some additional incentives for students to participate as well as being engaged. And you look all around your community, you have people who are willing to donate pretty much anything, whether it's food, gift cards, candy, socks, gloves. Those are great fun incentives that you could do with the students. And even if you don't have those donations, make it into an activity where it becomes a movie day or a free day or an activity day where students are able to participate in various fun activities of their liking. So I know I gave you a lot of information in a short period of time, but it's just a reminder that we don't have to make this all doom and gloom. The reality is the assessments are not going away. So what can we do to continue to recharge and motivate ourselves so that we can engage and motivate the students?
So true. And Dr. Turney, a lot of what you just hit on. So right now I'm back with my old district. I'm doing some, as a reading specialist, doing some reading remediation with 3-5, and everything that you just said, you hit on it. So, and I'm a very structured, you can probably tell, I'm a very structured practitioner as when it comes to education as a specialist, but I also have already got their packets ready, and I'm going to do the planning probably today or tomorrow. And I will be doing exactly what you're saying, because I'm there as a supportive staff and stakeholder to the educators. Of course, I can serve many more roles in that setting, but I'm there as just a reading specialist to help them to get ready for those, what we're going to talk about today, which is MOYs, which is middle of the year testing, and getting them ready for the EOG. So that you nailed it. But I want to go ahead. I have a brain teaser. I may come back to that, but I want to go ahead. So, because I can't assume that everyone joined us last week and know who you are, your area of expertise, and why you were so bad I had to bring you back again, but bad as in good bad and not good bad. So let me introduce to you my returning awesome, talented guest that will add great information, tools, and resources for our topic on the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show as a Christmas helper, and bless our listening audience again with some free books. So I want to tell you who she is, and I want to tell you why she knows what she's talking about. Okay. Her name is no other than Dr. Tonitia Langley. Now a highly in-demand consultant to school districts, educational entities, and organizations, Dr. Tonitia Langley has transformed 25 years at the top tier of teaching and K-12 school and district administration into delivering inspiring and game-changing knowledge transfer through coaching, presentations, keynotes, and workshops. She is a founder, and she does school and DEI practices, school improvement, leadership coaching, and mentoring. And so she has expanded her services from Illinois, Michigan, New York, Florida, the Cayman Islands, to just name a few. Dr. Turney is also the author of several articles and 2 books, Inspiration and Reflections for the School Leader and 5 Months to School Improvement. I love that one. Dr. Tonitia Langley graduated from Bowling Green State University, Ohio, with a bachelor's in secondary education communications, Xavier University, Ohio, with a master's in educational leadership and supervision, and Capella University with a doctorate in educational management and leadership. Go ahead, Ms. Thang. She lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, with her husband and 2 school-aged children. She is also the mother of 2 adult children. Dr. Turney is a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated and Quinn Chapel AME Church. Dr. Turney,
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back to Let's Talk
I
K-12
am
Education
so
Show.
glad to be back, and I love the holiday season, and
I
you're
do too.
representing Christmas, and once again, I'm representing the ice and the cold and the snow and the wind from Ohio. So
And
thank
we
you
love
so
it.
much. Yes, thank you
We
for having me.
we love it. So before we get ready to go to break, I'm getting ready to give our viewers and listening audience another opportunity. We had someone else that wanted your book, so we're going to give the radio and listening audience another opportunity. So here's your opportunity as an awesome radio Christmas helper to receive a free Christmas giveaway from Dr. Chrislyn Turney. Call into the show right now at 252-756-3137 and give a Christmas shout out to a K-12 staff person. Again, that is a principal, teacher, bus driver, cafeteria worker, secretary, or custodian. Anyone that is a grown-up staff person that helps the school go around, you are more than welcome. We welcome you to give them a Christmas shout out. And when you call, tell them why you wish them a very Merry Christmas, okay? So that just makes me so excited. So before we get ready to head in, we got about 3-4 minutes before we head to break. Dr. Chrislyn Turney, and I know I asked you last time, and you just floored me with your professional Christmas favorite.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you again.
Yes.
You can give the same one, or you can give a different one, or you can give both of them. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to get you to chime and check in. What is a personal and or professional Christmas favorite of yours?
Absolutely. So I'm going to share the same one I shared last week, but I'm also going to give you another one.
Okay.
So one of the things that we as a staff did was we spent time writing postcards to all of our students. We separated the number of students amongst the staff, and we hand wrote postcards to the students, and then we prepared them to be mailed before we left for break. Over break, the students would receive the postcards in the mail. And they would say very simple things. Hey, we hope you're having a great break. We're thinking about you. We miss you. Can't wait to see you on January 3rd when we return. And so that's just one idea that we did to support students. Now, we're going to get to talking a little bit about how we support our educators. So, my next example is how I coach and support educators. We oftentimes forget about the social emotional part of educators, especially because we are always resilient, strong, flexible until we're not, right?
Exactly.
And so one of the things that I always did with my staff was give them a week-long celebration of holiday cheer. And so each day of the week would represent something new and different. So we would have dress out days where they would be able to wear jeans, and like Monday was college sweatshirt, Tuesday was their favorite team, Wednesday was ugly sweater, etc. And so we would wear our jeans with whatever theme for that day. And then there would be food treats and surprises. And me and my team would even go through the hallway in our little elf outfits with a cart, and teachers could come out and just grab whatever. And usually, when they would come out of their classrooms to grab whatever, we as administrators would step into the classrooms. So it kind of gave them like this little 5-minute hallway break. We would be in there, and we loved it as much as they loved it. They would go in the hallway, they would laugh, talk, and chat, and we would be in the classrooms enjoying the students and connecting with them. So we wanted to make that last week especially very positive for our staff, because some of them don't go home to big families either. So we want them to feel that love and that appreciation really all year, but especially around the holiday season.
Absolutely. And you sound like that's how my principals were at my school when we had that whole turnaround experience, historical turnaround experience. It was those things like that, because when administrators are showing their teachers in the building that they care, that it does make a difference, that they do need a few minutes to take a breath or make a phone call or go to the restroom. That always meant a lot to us. And our school we had great retention for about 3-4 years. and
Yes.
nobody really went anywhere. So
And that speaks
that makes
volumes.
it does.
Yes.
So I want to share mine real quick. Mine was lighting, putting up my smart board with the fireplace and
Oh,
Christmas music, and that was my favorite one. So let me get ready to take us into break. So here is another opportunity to spread some Christmas cheer. Call into the show right now, 252-756-3137. Give your name and where you are calling from. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 and 1570 AM, where we make K-12 education everyone's business while we taking pride in being Christmas helpers. We'll be right back after this short message. Welcome back to Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. You can find us here talking about all things education every Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Let's Talk K-12 Education. You can find us on Facebook, Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM, again with the beautiful purple and green logo. If you want to see it on your TV, you can go to YouTube at www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU with the purple and green logo. Now y'all know what I do when I put stuff on, look at stuff on YouTube. If you have some K-12 suggestions or ideas, again, email us at Let's Talk K-12 Education at gmail.com with topics you would like to have discussed on the show. So we have a lot to cover in this midsection. So, Dr. Turney, before we get into our new topics today, which was Christmas cheer, the middle of the school year education checkpoint, and your book talk, last show's topic was so nice, we had to bring you back and do it twice.
That's right.
Can you do a review and take them back to school for part 2 and continue to wrap up the discussion of innovation and stagnation of charter schools?
Absolutely. And thank you once again for the wonderful opportunity to come and talk about this important topic again. So, charter schools, we know them, we see them, we've seen the rise and the boom. There's so much beauty to charter schools and schools of choice because they are innovative. Many charter schools in my area and the ones that I've worked with nationwide have various themes where they're STEM based, where they are biliterate based, where their arts or even athletics. So we see the innovation, we see the opportunity for students to gain greater educational options than they would perhaps at their local public school. But what we also see is after a couple of years, they become stagnant. What happens? What happens to funding? What happens to educators? What happens to the board? And then students start leaving and going back to many of their traditional public schools. And so one of the wealth of knowledge and experiences that I bring is that my background is all traditional public education. When I began consulting, even while still in traditional public education, I started working with charter schools and I was seeing these gaps as well as opportunities. I was seeing some of the things that we did in our traditional public setting that were not happening in the same way the charter schools. And it didn't make it bad, it just made it different. But it did start to make it go a little bad because there was this lack of sustainability of these innovative practices. So one of the things that I talked about on the previous show is how can we as communities, as charter school leaders, even in traditional settings, continue to support education for all students? Because at the end of the day, we don't want our students to be unsuccessful. We don't want them to leave and have to come back or we don't want them to struggle. So how can we as a community support that? So from a public school standpoint, when students are leaving and going to a charter school, we need to be encouraging. We need to provide that school with all of the resources that we have that we can share and information about that student's progress and success. This is not the time to gatekeep. This is also not the time to say, well, they didn't pay their school fees, so we're not going to send a complete transcript. We have to work together. Now, I get it. I get it. And what are some ways that we can go around it to continue to support the student, but also hold them and their families accountable for those missing fees? I get it.
Right.
And then once they get to the charter school, then the charter schools have to use whatever information they have as that foundation and that plan. Don't just neglect it and say, well, that was a bad school anyway. We're going to do it our way. Right. There is data and information that we can use to guide how we are supporting that student once they get to the charter school. And then just the opposite, when that student says, you know what, and that family says, this isn't for us, we need to go back, then that charter school has to be open and responsive and fair in speaking up and saying, you know what, it didn't work for this student and this family. So we do need to send them back. And that might be a better fit because of the resources and support that they might have. We see that from the support lens as well, because oftentimes charter schools don't have multiple teachers per grade. And sometimes they have multiple grades in one teacher's class. And while we know as educators that we can do that and be effective, it's not always best for every student.
Very true.
Can't get mad when they say, you know what, you are a great first, second, and third grade teacher. You're just not a great first, second, and third grade teacher for my kid who only wants a second grade teacher full time.
Right.
You can't get upset by that.
That's true.
Send them back and give the school the data and the resources and research that you had during that time so that that student can be successful. We got to look at the research, the data, and the reality in the sense that when a student has a poor performing teacher, that sets them back 3+ years.
Yes, it does.
We don't have them for very long. And when you look at that in grade bands, our elementary, our middle, and our high, that's the whole time just about.
Yes,
so we have to be responsive. And so using individuals to come in to provide instructional support, professional development, and even day-to-day hands-on support for that teacher or teachers or leaders. I know I talked a lot about this. I get so passionate. We can't cover it all today, but you always can reach out to me and we can just go until next Christmas talking about it.
I love it. I love it. So Dr. Turney, that segues us into thank you for being an awesome radio Christmas helper on the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show with your free book giveaways today for our listen and viewing audience. So with that being said, we got about 2 minutes before we head to break. Do a book talk about your books that you have available for our radio and viewing listening audience.
Absolutely. So my first book, the book that you will receive here, Inspiration and Reflections for the School Leader, it is a journal reflection book because I saw so many books out there for teachers. But what about our school leaders who are over there struggling, just trying to make it? And so there are stories, scriptures, quotes in there, and opportunities for you to reflect on your own personal experiences being a school leader. And then my second book, 5 Months to School Improvement. I love it. Now, the reality is we can't improve a school in 5 months, but we can definitely make strides and gains toward improvement.
Yes.
So this is a workbook where you can actually print and use some of the activities in there with your staff as you are reflecting on the curriculum, the lesson plans, the culture and climate, the structures of your day-to-day routines, and how you can modify those in 5 months towards school improvement.
This is beautiful, Dr. Turner, and we're getting ready to give our listening and viewing audience an opportunity to get some of those giveaways.
Yay!
So here's an opportunity to receive some Christmas cheer. Call in with a chance to receive a free Christmas giveaway of Dr. Crystalline Turney's book. Call into the show right now at 252 756 3137. Give your name and where you are calling from. Do not go anywhere. You're
Yes.
listening to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM, where we make K-12 education everyone's business while taking pride in being Christmas helpers. We will be right back after this short message, and Dr. Turney will then take us into our topic of the day and maybe even do a more recap on the book. And we are hoping that you guys are calling in to get it. So do not go anywhere. You want to stay right here. You don't want to go because we got more Christmas giveaways to give away from Dr. Crystalline Turney. So we're going to go to this short break, and we look to see you on the other side.
Yes.
Welcome back, guys, to Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU, providing educational equity for the families in our listening and viewing audience. I'm the host, but you and the community mean the most. Please email us your K-12 educational suggestions or topic ideas at Let's Talk K-12 Education at gmail.com. Here's another opportunity for you to get Dr. Crystalline Turney's Christmas giveaway book. Call into the show at 252 756 3137 and give a Christmas season shout out to your favorite K-12 person. And as it could be, again, a principal, teacher, bus driver, cafeteria worker, secretary, custodian, behavior support person, and tell them you wish them a Merry Christmas. Why? And why do you wish them a Merry Christmas? So call into the show 252 756 3137 for an opportunity to be blessed with Dr. Crystalline Turney's book that she just talked about in our last segment. So, Dr. Crystalline Turney, we talked about our new topic. You did a nice review of as it pertains to charter schools, about innovation and stagnation, but got a whole new topic that I want you to talk about to help our educators. And I'm actually going to add some insight to that for our families, how they can partner with them. So we're going to talk about, in this segment, Christmas cheer to middle of the school year educator checkpoint. And honestly, it can be kind of scary sometimes, especially for teachers that may be close to a plan. So this can be a pretty scary time for some educators. So I'm hoping that they're tuning in and listening to what it is that you have to say. So without further ado, I'm going to let you take them to school and hopefully provide them with something to make this a little less stressful time, Dr. Turney. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you again for the wonderful opportunity. I'm so passionate about all of this, K through 12 education, supporting teachers, educators, and doing it for the kids. And so this is just one of the many things that I enjoy talking about and reflecting on. Mm-hmm. And that is, how are we as educators taking care of ourselves? So here's the interesting thing. I shared with you in the last segment information about my book, Inspiration and Reflections for the School Leader. That book came about because I was a building principal of 1,900 students. We were weeks away from our accreditation, and my mom passed away. And it was somewhat sudden. While she was in the hospital, it was still sudden and shocking and heartbreaking because she was my best friend. And during that time, I still had to keep a smile on my face and the energy in the building. And on an additional note, I was the first Black principal of that particular high school. And so you know what that means, right?
Exactly. Yes, ma'am,
As
I do.
far as the scrutiny is concerned, and as far as the expectations to keep things going. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to use the spirit and grace and energy that my
Mm,
mom always exuded,
yes.
put that on my back so that
Mm-hmm.
we can get through the accreditation process as
Come
well as
through.
the rest of the school year.
Mm,
And so during that time, I'm seeking ways to get through. I'm smiling in the day and crying at night, and
mm,
sometimes
mm.
crying in the day in my office and stepping out and smiling
There we
afterward.
go. We know
And
how to do
so
that very well.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so just seeking ways. And of course, this was a very strong time for me to connect with my faith and the Lord. But there was no readings out there. There was nothing that really supported school leaders who were living through real life stuff, right? It
Yep.
was always, how do we move the data? How do we do, which is, they are fabulous resources, right? And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
here to knock that, but we could shift and move data. We can re classify our schools all day and night long, but we are still real people dealing with
Exactly.
real emotions and issues. And so that's why I wrote that book, because it was a journal, it was a reflection tool for me in hopes that it could be a reflection for someone else. So when we think about this from that middle of the school year standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
Exactly.
How's it going? This is not just for leaders, this is for educators as well. And
Mm-hmm.
coincidentally, as I was reflecting on this topic, you
Mm-hmm.
know, things are always sent to you at the right time in your
Yes,
life,
they are.
right? So I
Yes.
came across a TikTok of a woman who was in her car crying. She had just resigned from her teaching position middle of the year, and she
Mm-hmm.
had 4 kids.
Oh.
And so we know what this does to finances,
Mm-hmm.
holidays, mental health. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself.
We
And
do.
these students and families, they're very different. And how can we make sure that we are on a strong foundation to be
Mm-hmm.
able to help and support students? So,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things coming together at one time makes me that much more aware as well as passionate about the topic of the social emotional piece of educators as
Yes.
well. So, tip wise, journaling, taking time for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
setting very specific goals, personal and professional, so that
Mm-hmm.
and keeping and sticking with those. So, one of the things that we all do is we get these New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
And I'm one of them, because last
Me too.
year, or the start of this year, I said each day I'm going to track my time. I'm going to write this time schedule down so that I was keeping, my social, emotional, my emotions in check as well, because I
Mm-hmm.
did not want to do these 14-hour days anymore.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I
Uh-huh.
started off keeping the schedule. Well, we know what happened, right? And
Mm-hmm.
before long, I'm back to these 14-hour days instead of trying to, fit everything in within the 10 hours and saying, once that's it, it's over. That's
That's it.
it. I have
Mm-hmm.
to respect my family, my mental health, and the world around me. And so now it's time to think about these New Year's resolutions again. And so
Mm-hmm.
I want educators to think about these as these mid year resolutions and goals. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
you do it from December/January to spring. And then
Mm-hmm.
you take a look back and then say, okay, let me reestablish, recalibrate some things for August to December
That's right.
of the next school year. So, thinking about this from the personal standpoint, how are you going to monitor your time? How are you going to shut down? What are you going to do to relax and recharge? How are you going to involve your family and friends in this? One of the things that I noticed when I was a principal was that I didn't have any more friends.
Yep.
My friends were at school every day. That was
That's
my
true.
social hour. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to get that back and make it very intentional to say, no, We are going to dinner. We are going on a trip. We are going to do something so that I can get that connection back as well. And then professional goals. We know that they go hand in hand.
Yes, they
So
do.
we're thinking about, where are your professional goals in the middle of the year?
Yes.
Are you, as a teacher or leader, meeting the intended goals, whether that's on your one plan or your continuous improvement plan or your goals and initiatives for the year?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you, and how are you working toward meeting those goals?
So, Dr. Turney, can I segue in there, because what you just addressed just encompasses so beautifully what I would like to share. So, from state to state and county to county, district to district, it's going to be called one thing over another. So in my district, what you're referring to is what we call PDPs, which are professional development plans. You sit and you write one at the beginning of the year. Then you go back and you just kind of check to see, the standards professionally that you set it up. How are you doing? How do you measure that? And so I want to help the listening audience about a teacher professional development plan is a personalized roadmap for a teacher's ongoing professional growth. It outlines specific goals, strategies, and actions to improve teaching practices, enhance subject knowledge, and ultimately benefit student learning. This plan is typically developed in collaboration with school administrators and involves a commitment to ongoing learning and reflection. Even though I was not an administrator like you, I was a teacher leader in the building. So I did peer evaluations and with our evaluative tool. And sometimes I would meet with teachers that I was either was assigned to me as a mentee, or teachers that were having some challenges with their evaluations. And you brought up a good point. And what I would always try to get them to see, this time of year can be scary, especially if they have not had good observations or check-ins, and that can be really scary. You're trying to get ready for the holidays, but your evaluations are low. Things aren't in alignment with your mid-year plans, with your mid-year PDPs. So what I would like to say before because we got about 8 minutes, is one of the things that I would like to say as a classroom teacher and a classroom teacher leader is that I looked at everything when it was time for me to update my mid-year PDP or professional development plan. I evaluated, how am I doing? Something as little as when the first year started, I was coming in early, leaving late 5 days a week. Well, one of the things that some people don't recognize that they're growing in is, if, okay, it's mid-year, you're only coming 3 days a week, and you're only staying late instead of coming early and staying late. Because sometimes, Dr. Turney, I know in all of your leadership experience, as well as mine as a turnaround specialist, that they don't look at where there's growth, and how they can hold on to those tangible things that they can measure and see. And so I know in your expertise, you help them to see, hey, you're overlooking, you're growing in these areas. Yeah, you might not have met growth here, but look at how you've got your personal life and balancing it, where you're making good use of your time. You're not coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, coming in at 7 and leaving at 6, 7, 8 o'clock with the custodians, So those are some things that I did, that I measured when I looked at my middle of the year development plan, and I kept it very realistic. I didn't say, "Whoa, I don't want to come at all. I just want to, not have a dinner." So making realistic goals, and then looking at your evaluations where you have grown, and calling that a win. I know that's what worked for me. And because I feel very passionate about this, because I honestly feel like it is a precursor if this educator is going to come back in your building.
That's right.
Not just talk about next year, but you and I know people that grab their teacher bags, their them 31 bags, and head on out the door and don't come back. So So yes, ma'am. So yes, I just wanted to just put that piece in, and I'm gonna let you continue. But I also want to you touched on how the community, the families can partner for teacher retention for this mid-year that can be kind of scary. So a Christmas gift can be you can do, you talked about a holiday card. If you're tight on money, you can't go out and buy your favorite teachers a gift card. Make one.
That's
I
right.
used to put them up in my
Yes.
classroom all the time. I
Yes.
honeyed those ones that the babies, they wrote on them and drew on them. They meant just as much to me as someone going to spend $6 on a Hallmark card.
That's
So
right.
do that to help these educators know that that they can meet their mid-year goals, that they made it through this point. If they got from the beginning of the year to this point, they can make it. Adopt a teacher program. Pair families with a teacher to provide small acts of kindness. You mentioned it earlier, letting the teacher get a cart and letting them get a minute to take a breath, go to the restroom, gift cards. Don't know about homemade treats because they're kind of funny about that stuff now.
That's right. Yep, I get it.
Volunteer opportunities, optimize volunteer opportunities for families to assist in classroom, libraries, or school events, freeing up teachers' time for planning and professional development. Now, again, all of this, you must reach out to the school, because each state, each district have different sets of rules that they go by. But that's one of the ways that you guys were talking about educators, but we want to bring you into the fold too, because it's a village as we talk about this mid-year. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dr. Turner. We got about 4 minutes before we get ready to close out. So yes, I'm glad that you talked about those mid-year things and provide them some tips and some strategies. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, because I get excited too, and we be like, well, the show is over.
Yes. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing some of the wonderful things and the structures that are in place there in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of the states that I have not done any work and contracts in. So y'all need to call me because I've gone all over the country and even internationally, and not in North Carolina. But it was good to hear that information and make that connection as well. So I want to really draw into these mid-year checks, because I know as a leader how hard it can be for teachers to receive these mid-year checks, and how they might feel going into break with low data, not high levels of professional growth shown by them. I get it. And that could very well lead to them saying, you know what, I could just not come back after the holidays. And that would be really unfortunate to the students, as well as a huge loss to the school. But now I got to talk to the leaders. Okay. So educator leaders, really listen in. A lot of this falls on us, and it falls on us before the mid-year checkpoint. What are things that we can do as leaders to support teachers so that they do feel comfortable and safe and effective? We know things happen, right? Some teachers are going to work so hard and the data is just not going to show for it in that moment. True. But we got to give them time. We got to give them time to make it work. But what additionally, including time, are we providing? Can we give them professional development and support, one-on-one coaching, or if your district is large enough and you have curriculum directors or instructional coaches, tell the curriculum director, tell the instructional coach, hey, I think Miss So-and-so needs a little additional support in this area. Can we wrap around together to support that teacher so that they don't leave in the middle of the year or really at all? And Miss Langley, one of the things that you said is about the retention that your school and your staff has. That does not happen by accident. That is very intentional on behalf of the school leader. The school leader sets that tone. So as we are entering this mid-year point, making sure that leaders, you're checking yourselves as well. It's not always on the teacher. It's sometimes on us to take a step back and say, how can we support and empower that teacher to be effective?
Oh, you said a entire Thanksgiving meal, Christmas Eve meal, Christmas dinner. It starts from top down.
That's right.
It
Yes.
start your what they say, that cliche, your team is only as good as the leader or
That's
something.
right. And that is
Um,
true.
so
That's
this
true.
has
I'm a
been,
witness.
yeah, this is so great to have you on, Dr. Turney, from that lens as a administrative leader, as running a building, as being the first African American female. You make me so proud.
Thank
And
you.
offering some hope to someone, I'm hoping, that's listening, that may be taking that journey that you've taken, and
Yes.
that you're sitting here today. You've been all over, everywhere. You've been international and national, and that you have made it. And
Yes.
so I'm hoping that they
Thank
will
you.
take that. I hope the educators will listen, of some tips that I've shared, and leaders from you, Dr. Turney. So I want to thank you for coming back to share your
Yes.
expertise.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a Christmas helper. And again, this is Tonitia Langley, the Community Christmas Helper with Awesome Radio with free Christmas giveaways. I'm your education enthusiast, thought leader, and here every Tuesday from 2 to 3. Until next time, I want to tell you, have a Merry Christmas.
Merry
And thank you for
Christmas.
tuning in today on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. See you next week.
Bye.